The Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. Take control of the airwaves. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And yes, that includes people who don't have a basic understanding of how to interact with other human beings. We're happy to give you advice on these
Or
matters.
at least bust your balls.
Yeah, or a little bit of both.
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah. I mean, because, look, it can be difficult to get signals from people, right? Like over text messaging, you lose all the other connection that you have to a human, right? Normally, if you're in a face-to-face environment, as we are here in the studio, you guys aren't remote hosts somewhere else.
Right.
I can see what you're doing with your hands. I can see if you're making eye contact with me. I can see if you're frustrated. I can see if you're angry. There's a lot of unspoken communication,
You can
nonverbal.
look directly into my soul.
To some extent, there's this nonverbal ability to communicate that we have, and when you are at a distance from another person, that goes away. If you have voice, let's say you're on a phone call, or you're on the Discord server, you're having an audio conversation with us. We can't see each other. I mean, you might be able to watch us on our cams, but let's pretend we can't see each other. And if you're watching on the cams, it's 10 seconds later anyway.
It still has an effect.
Yeah, it's later.
Even if you have cams. So.
Right. So, you've got just audio. Okay, well, you don't get the subtle sort of nonverbal communications there, but you can still hear intonation. You can still hear, if somebody sounds irritated, or if somebody sounds like they just rolled out of bed, or, there's different things.
Sarcastic.
Sarcasm, sure.
That's the biggest thing that gets lost on text, is
Yes.
people say sarcastic things.
You can still pick that up over audio. There's still a large amount of inflection and communication that can still go on just with audio, but you're still losing a lot by not being in the same room with the person. Well, now you cut that out completely and you go to just text only, where all you have is the words of the person, and presuming they get their punctuation correct, which can completely change, the way you read a sentence.
Punctuation, what's that?
Yeah. I mean, some people don't believe in it when it comes to texting. It's frustrating.
Yeah, if you don't understand the importance of a comma, I love cooking my friends and my family. The comma really matters there. And
So, you just have the text and you lose everything as far as the communication that goes on outside of just the words. And so it can be difficult for somebody who is, let's say, less with it as far as understanding what is an appropriate level of communication or not, to understand that, or to at least get signals or messages that suggest to that person, hey, that's enough. Because the person on the other end may not say, hey, Dave, leave me alone. I'm busy right now. They may be too busy to respond or whatever. And so then Dave is just hammering, or whoever we're talking about, right? Dave happened to be the caller, but there's other people who've done this, and they're just hammering away. Why isn't she getting back to me? Why isn't he responding? Maybe they're busy. Maybe you're not their priority at that moment in time. And you know what?
maybe they're dead and their cats are eating them.
Well, I suppose it could happen. And at some point, if you really are best friends with a person and you can't reach that person, it's not inappropriate to go over and knock on their door after it's been a day or something like that.
But what do you do with the cats after that?
I don't know. They just did what they had to do. It's not the cats didn't kill the person. The cats just ate them after the fact.
Yeah.
How do you know it wasn't the cats?
Well, that's a good point. You don't. It's probably not, though.
Yeah, probably.
But for instance, I was just watching this movie. One of my ex actually recommended it to me. I think it was called like Dear Zachary. It was a documentary film about this psycho bitch who she got together with this doctor guy and she murdered him, and then she subsequently ran off to Newfoundland in Canada. So she had murdered him in the United States, in Pennsylvania. And the movie was made by like one of his childhood best friends, and the filmmaker went and like interviewed all his friends and just kind of painted this picture of this horrifying, psychotic woman who she again ran to Canada. Canadian courts let her out on bail without ever having to actually put any money up. She's out on bail. She's got a child with this guy, like an infant child, like a less than 1 year old child. She, despite his parents coming up to fight for this child, to fight for the custody of the child, to try to get it away from this woman, she was given the ability to like take this. Like, it's pretty clear from the evidence in the case that she murdered this guy, but they let her out and they let her have the child. She got put in jail for some amount of time, but then let back out. And again, the trial hadn't happened yet. She ends up killing herself and killing the child. They tried, these poor grandparents or whatever tried their best to stop it. And the court system just refused to do anything to restrict this woman. And I forget why I was even telling that story. It had some sort of relevance. Oh yeah, just she was crazy. So like she was the kind of person who was, texting and calling over and over again. Sorry, it looked like you're going to say something.
No. I mean, I'll say something after you're done, but.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even really remember why I was telling the story. It was just a crazy woman.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that I would jump to the conclusion that somebody like Dave is crazy just because.
I
because
remember why. I'm sorry. I remember why I brought it up, because the guy was killed in his, or no, he wasn't killed in his home, but his coworkers. He hadn't shown up at work and he wasn't answering the phone, so they sent somebody over there. So you were talking about dead in the house with cats.
Yeah.
So they sent somebody to his house to check on him, and he wasn't answering the door, and eventually they found him in laying down in a park with 5 bullet holes in him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's why I brought the story up.
So,
but she was also crazy, leaving lots of messages and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I don't think that's most of these people. Probably what you should do is if you're in a situation where you've got somebody like this, somebody like Dave, and it's not just exclusive to Dave, but anybody who has social any kind of communications issues, is just say it. Tell them to their face, because they'll appreciate it.
Make it clear.
Yeah, make it clear that you're telling me too much.
This is too much. Leave me alone.
What's not appropriate for another human being that understands the social cues is appropriate to say to somebody who doesn't understand those cues. Because
I think it's appropriate anytime. I mean, if you're being bothered by somebody, let them know. It's the best thing that you can do for them.
Yeah, I'm always amused by these women who will, and it's nearly always women, but they'll post this stream of social media messages where some guy is like texting them for days and days and days, and they haven't responded, and so he starts getting increasingly mad and increasingly abusive, and I'm just thinking, why didn't you block this guy like immediately when he started irritating you, rather than just leaving him there? Yeah. Because I've got no tolerance. If I accept a friend request and you pop up in my inbox, I'm probably just going to block you on general principle.
Not everybody's as technically capable as you, though. Nobody.
True.
Well, I mean, blocking isn't the most technical thing that somebody has to do on most platforms.
Maybe not, but you overestimate the technical competency of women in general as a group.
Well, I don't know if I'd go there. 855 450 free.
Hey, I'm not saying all women, just,
Hey, I think people in general aren't particularly technically able.
I would agree.
There's more coming up. 855 450 free, like freedom. You can join us here on Free Talk Live.
Do you have a crypto wealth advisor or coach? If so, has your cryptocurrency advisor been investing in technology stocks for over 20 years? Have they left the corporate world and retired? Or are they still trying to make a weekly paycheck? Have they produced 6-figure results for their customers in the past 30 days? And very importantly, are they a member of the Digital Currency Council? Seth Maniscalco is the founder of Crypto Wealth Coach and CryptoWealthCoach.com. Seth invested in his first Roth IRA at 19 years old while living abroad and has been investing in Wall Street and technology for over 20 years. years with experience in all the money markets. By comparison, so many of these so-called crypto gurus have barely been alive for 20 years. Seth has not only experienced personal success from his own investments in crypto, he has also helped his clients earn 6- and 7-figure incomes, including helping investors make over $750,000 in EOS in 90 days and 1,225% in only 5.5 months with Chainlink. Seth has help for the small do-it-yourself guy on up to crypto whales. Increase your wealth. Visit CryptoWealthCoach.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Do you know the difference between erudite and pedantic? If you do, you're probably pedantic. But seriously, a surprising number of erudite people mispronounce erudite, which has 3 syllables, not 4. Say erudite, not erudite. Because you are judged by how you speak, you want to avoid common misstatements, especially if you're a job seeker. For instance, do you know the difference between imply and infer? Only a speaker can imply. Only a listener can infer. And when you say you'll be out of pocket, do you mean out of touch? Out of pocket means you're on your own dime, not yet reimbursed. And if anyone ever asks, why do you always answer a question with a question? You should reply, do I do that? Just kidding. From survivalspeech.com, I'm Holland Cook.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free. You can bring up anything you want. The attack on freedom of speech, it continues. We'll tell you about the Time magazine editor, the former editor, who is now the CEO of the Constitution Center, who's decided that whole First Amendment thing, we don't really need it anyway. So we'll tell you what he has to say about that here in moments. Your calls and thoughts are welcome, and I do want to make sure you know about the Edge wallet. It is my preferred wallet. It's the one that I use more than any other cryptocurrency wallet. I should be clear, we're talking about cryptocurrency wallets here. This is not the kind of wallet that, is a physical wallet. It's software, and you load it onto your iOS or Android device, and Edge Wallet allows you to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold cryptocurrencies. And there's a bunch of them that Edge supports: Stellar, Ripple, Monero, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Dash, the original Bitcoin, of course, and many more. You can go to edge.app to learn more about Edge and the technology behind it, and help secure your freedom by helping you store your favorite cryptocurrencies. And as I said, you can buy and sell, and you can do a bunch of cool stuff with Edge. So get on over to the Google or Apple App Store, and you can just download Edge Wallet. That's EDGE, Edge Wallet, or go to their website to learn more at edge.app. As we continue, we go to Mortified Turkey on the line on our Discord server. Go ahead, Turkey.
Hey guys, I was listening to the show last night. I wasn't around in the area. I was a little busy, but I didn't get a chance to listen on the go.
All right.
And I had some things I kind of thought about your Halloween topic about the costumes and cultural appropriation and all that.
Yeah, we read it. It's just for listeners who weren't tuned in. We read a kind of whiny piece from the Washington Post written by somebody who wanted to explain to folks why they should be super sensitive about Halloween costumes, because some people could be offended by your Indian costume or, whatever other, because they're basically saying that it's wrong to have a costume and have fun and dress up. And anyway, that's the summary of the story.
Does that mean that people can't dress up as like flamboyant, like homosexuals? No,
because that would be appropriating your culture, right?
That's insane.
Yeah,
that's insane.
If you're not gay, you can't dress up as though you're gay. If you're not an Indian, you can't dress up as though you're an Indian. Is basically
that a
what these
culture?
people say. Well, there's a large culture within
that's
the
a
gay
stereotypical
community.
culture. Yeah. I think it's probably a culture, a subculture within the gay community.
You're gay, but you're not flaming
right,
gay.
Exactly. Like I'm not Derek J and Steven, right? And that's not. They're not going to find it. They're not going to take offense to that either. By the way that I said that. So,
even they these days aren't as flaming as some of the gay culture.
That's true. They've toned it down a bit, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to kind of raise a libertarian counterpoint to that, and so far I've gotten some pretty harsh reaction in the Discord. It's a pretty sensitive topic apparently, but my idea is that if people do take offense to that, to stereotyping and demeaning of their cultures or whatnot, it's an opinion. It's I can't make a determination about every single time that it happens, but it's an opinion. And when people mount social pressure campaigns or expose it, try to convince people why it's offensive or wrong, if that's their opinion, I see that's perfectly in line with libertarian ethics, in the absence of violence or coercion, the discussion.
Obviously if you can persuade somebody to adopt a ridiculous belief system, then that's your freedom. And
being offended is a valid opinion that some people do have, and as long as it is openly discussed and not like an extremely vocal minority. But even then, I think debate and discussion is entirely in line with libertarian ethos, versus using violence or coercion or whatever things that would actually be totally against libertarian ethos. So that's just my opinion when it comes to the matter.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of opinions.
Yeah, we should definitely allow people with different opinions, onto, and we already do on this show, but onto the show. If you're a socialist or you're a white supremacist or whatever, if you have a different opinion or you just have a different perspective, give us a call and let us know.
Yeah, well, that's my preference. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear from the choir, honestly, that much.
Well, we've already got the choir here, right? We got 3 people in the studio every day, so it's we got enough of that. We need people who are differing in their opinion.
I don't want to say I don't want to hear from folks who agree with us, but what I'd rather hear from them is cool stuff that's going on within the libertarian movement. Tell me something I don't know.
Right?
Tell me something that's exciting, some cool activism or whatever that's going on in your area. That I think would be cool. But yeah, I don't want to sit here and talk about how we all agree on stuff. That's not that interesting. So I'd much rather talk to somebody like a Chris Cantwell or somebody who's got a differing belief system, or on the other side, an Amanda Bolden, somebody who is a lefty or whatever, a commie. That's more challenging. It's more interesting.
Yeah, no, you don't want to talk to a true commie. They just go in circles. I don't know.
Well, anyway, it's open phones as it always is. Anything else, Mortified Turkey?
No, I just want to say that open discussion. If you want to change somebody's opinion, put the factual events in light, let people know what's going on and discuss them rationally and calmly, and don't involve the state, most important.
I agree. Thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate hearing from you. Sounding great there, by the way, on the Discord server. You can join that by going to discord.lrn.fm, where multiple multiple participants are now changing their name to reflect my name, just, I guess, because there's recently been a scam artist who's been floating around social media pretending like they are me and trying to
Have you talked about that
money.
on air?
Yes, I talked about it the night that it was happening.
Gotcha.
This week, and I mentioned it a few weeks ago when the same person struck on our Discord.
You're gonna be having people do this 10 years from now just because of that one person that you mentioned this one time on air.
You think?
Oh yeah, I've got people who still are like, it's talking about how I'm like this artist and stuff because I posted one comment online like 20 years ago.
You're an artist?
Right, like nobody knows, but like, yeah, people every once in a while they'll say something to me about it, and I'm like, how do you know that? Like,
you do like artwork?
Well, no, I mean, not. I haven't done anything for like 20 years, but yeah, I used to draw and paint and stuff, and but like I mentioned it one time somewhere, and now like everybody, like 20 years later, I'm still getting comments about it, like just random people. I'm like, how are you even know that? Like, where did you read that? Like, it's like because people don't usually read like old forum like comments and things, so
usually not,
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Unless they're investigating it.
Interesting question. Are any of these guys feds? Could this have made it into your FBI file, and that's why certain people know about it?
I don't know.
If you need more proof that free expression is under serious and sustained attack, writes Reason.com's Nick Gillespie, look no further than the Washington Post, which, by the way, was the same place where they were, where we were reading from last night with the article about cultural appropriation. That legendary and often self-congratulatory bastion of First Amendment support, which has just published an op-ed calling for hate speech laws because, quote, on the internet, truth is not optimized. On the web, it's not enough to battle falsehood with truth. The truth doesn't always win, unquote. What's even more disheartening is the author is Richard Stengel, a former managing editor of Time, chairman of the National Constitution Center, and Obama-era State Department official whose soul-searching apparently began when challenged by diplomats from a part of the world notorious for particularly brutal forms of censorship. As a journalist, Stengel avers that he loved the First Amendment and its commitment to free speech. But then he got stumped by unnamed representatives of unnamed governments who asked banal questions. Quote, even the most sophisticated Arab diplomats that I dealt with did not understand why the First Amendment allows someone to burn a Koran. Why, they asked me, would you ever want to protect that? Unquote.
See, my response to that first would be, is it illegal to burn a Bible in your country?
Mm-hmm.
Because, I'm pretty sure it is.
It's illegal?
In most of those countries, I would say it's legal.
Oh, it's legal
to burn a Bible, but not a Koran, and probably not a Torah either. Or I'm sorry, it's probably legal to burn a Bible or a Torah, but not a Koran.
Effectively, that means the answer to that is to say, well, it's not illegal to burn a Bible either. To the response to
States.
Why is it illegal to burn a Koran in the United States? It's the same reason it's illegal to burn a Bible.
We'll get into it deeper here. This guy who apparently used to be in favor of the First Amendment is now no longer. And we will explain that. He will try to explain himself, I suppose. And we'll get Reason's thoughts. Your thoughts are welcome as well. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Does the First Amendment go too far? It's Free Talk Live.
Warning, don't let your business get left behind in what is likely to be the biggest economic boom in recent history. If you need to build for your business to grow, call General Steel today for a pre-engineered steel building designed for your needs. No wasted space. Steel prices are expected to rise, but you can still lock in your price on a General Steel building. And you can still save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. As much as half. But you must call now. If you need a church building, office, warehouse, manufacturing space, retail space, or more, call General Steel today. You can still get the General's 50-year structural warranty and General Steel quality, all at a price you can afford. So don't let rising steel prices put your project out of reach and stop you from making your company great.
800-965-1295. 800-965-1295. 800-965-1295. That's 800-965-1295.
Bags under the eyes, crow's feet, fine lines and wrinkles are things adults complain about as they age. Now there's Instantly Ageless. It works in minutes and is great for men and women. Here's a clip from The Rachel Ray Show testing the results of Instantly Ageless.
Board-certified dermatologist Dr. Whitney Bowe.
If you're looking to try to turn back the clock on a budget, in the privacy of your own home, but actually there's some recent technologies emerging, almost like changes the behavior of the skin while it sits on the skin.
She went off to try a product called Instantly Ageless.
Yeah, instantly you could see a difference. Even the cameraman were like, wow, look at the difference.
Yeah,
but I would definitely use this product.
This product, within minutes of applying it, it was actually a very dramatic rejuvenation.
Try Instantly Ageless today at GCNlife.com. That's GCNlife.com. 30-day money-back guarantee and preferred price discount at GCNlife.com. That's GCNlife.com.
Free Talk Live.
As long as the majority of people say that you can't smoke in public, or the majority of people say you can't have a windmill in your yard, or the majority of people say you can't wear your pants down around your butt, or the majority of people say that you can't contract to live with the person you want to live with, or the majority of the people say that you've got to pay for public schools. As long as the majority says it, it must be okay, because crowds have wisdom. Oh, come on.
Nonsense.
Crowds lynched people for being witches.
There's so many instances in history where we acknowledge now that the majority was massively and horribly wrong.
Yes.
Why aren't we acknowledging it? Look, we've had precedent for that. Why aren't we acknowledging it now in terms of how we decide how we're going to interact with each other? That, look, maybe that's not a good way to figure out right and wrong. That the majority believes in a certain thing. And that's how we find out right from wrong.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. We're talking about freedom of speech while we still can, because there are some people out there, and some of them in fairly influential positions, as a former managing editor of Time magazine, Richard Stengel, coming out and saying he's turning against the First Amendment, and we'll tell you more about that coming up here. With you tonight, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And Chris.
Also, I do want to make sure you know about balance of nature, because, it can be a challenge these days to eat well. If you're in a rush, you're traveling, you're working, it can be hard to, really get good nutrition in there. But Balance of Nature can help you with 3 of their Balance of Nature fruit capsules and 3 of their vegetable capsules. You can get 10 servings of fruits and veggies, and that's a lot of nutrition. For a limited time, you can get free shipping and a free set of fruits and veggies. Now, you do have to stay on board for 3 months, and then they'll ship to you at no additional charge that free set of fruits and veggies. You can get onto that program by joining over at balanceofnature.com and use discount code FTL. That's balanceofnature.com, discount code FTL, like Free Talk Live. So apparently this guy, Richard Stengel, formerly of Time magazine, now with the Constitution Center, he met with some diplomats from some Arab nations, and he said that they had asked him, why would you ever want to protect allowing someone to burn a Koran? Now, that was the quote from what Stengel said. Now, here's more from Reason.com. Says, is he kidding? Why would a country another quote. Why would a country founded in large part on the Enlightenment values of free speech and religious freedom allow free speech and religious freedom? Unquote. I guess that was Reason quoting themselves. Doesn't seem like a tough question to answer. He doesn't name the countries his most sophisticated Arab diplomats represented, so we'll need to fill that detail in. Let's assume they were from Saudi Arabia, a country completely unworthy of emulation when it comes to respecting basic human rights, and whose Prince Mohammed bin Salman has taken responsibility for the brutal torture and murder of post-columnist Jamal Khashoggi. Remember when that happened like a year ago or whenever it was?
Yep.
Was
that before or after they got on the UN Human Rights Council?
Good question. We allow the burning of the Quran for the same reason we allow the burning of the King James and St. Jerome Bibles, the desecration of the U.S. flag, and the potential libeling of elected officials. We believe that individuals have rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. With a few exceptions such as fighting words and true threats and obscenity, we know it's better to allow more speech rather than less. Surprisingly, people get along better when they can more freely speak their minds. The search for truth, or at least consensus, benefits from free expression too, as ideas and attitudes are subjected to examination from friends and foes alike. And further, I'd add that if you can say a thing without being afraid that you're going to be strung up from a noose or by a noose and, hung or tarred and feathered or whatever horrifying thing might happen to you in some of these other countries, then you have the ability to express yourself. You're not afraid to say what you really think, and then people can respond to what you really think with their own speech. And maybe they will effectively rebut you or convince you to change your mind, or at the very least convince the audience to change their mind.
It's interesting to notice too, and this is maybe my observation is just wrong, but it seems that the places that have less free speech have more violence as a result. People express themselves using actions, at protests and things of that nature, and it seems to happen less in the United States and less in places where there's more freedom entrenched in their laws and in their practices.
Mm-hmm. I think that's one of the reasons for the kind of reappearance of racism recently. Also, is that if you suppress the speech that you don't like, then that's going to build up in that person. Mm-hmm. And most people, as they get grumpy or something, sooner or later they're going to get to a point where they vent that and scream and yell and jump up and down, have a fit, and then they're okay. Yeah. But if you don't do that, then you might get to the point where you just punch somebody in the face.
Well, that comes back to what you were just saying about people being more violent if they can't express themselves.
Yep. Yeah, it's not just this type of situation that you can compare this to. Like, there's been studies on porn and rape. When you outlaw porn, rapes go up, and when you legalize it, they go down. So it's expression.
I think the same thing's true of prostitution as well.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, yeah. When you legalize prostitution, they go down.
Prostitutions go down. Yeah, prostitutes go down. But the pragmatic answer, says Nick Gillespie at Reason, is ultimately secondary to the expressive one. We allow free speech because no one, certainly not the government, has a right to curtail it. At least that's what we believe, because we've lived so long with it, and I think we're right about that. As befits a man who helmed a legacy media outlet that is slowly being reduced to rubble like the statue of Ozymandias in the desert, Stengel is particularly distraught over the internet and the web. He implies that the, quote, marketplace of ideas, unquote, worked well enough when John Milton and a bit later America's founders pushed an unregulated press, but now times have changed. Here's a quote from this anti-free speech guy, again, his name Richard Stengel, quote, "On the internet, truth is not optimized. On the web, it's not enough to battle falsehood with truth. The truth doesn't always win. In the age of social media, the marketplace model doesn't work. A Stanford 2016 study showed that 82% of middle schoolers couldn't distinguish between an ad-labeled sponsored content and an actual news story."
Well, that's because they can't read.
Well, hold on. I think that's only part of it. The problem with the study is when you give a study to a middle schooler and a high school kid, most of the kids, they bubble in like a face,
Christmas tree,
right? Like a Christmas tree. Like they don't. It's not like they're going to be penalized for bubbling in a Christmas tree. The results are not, accurate.
Only a quarter of high school students could tell the difference between an actual verified news site and one from a deceptive account designed to look like a real one. So this guy's really butthurt over the Onion. I mean, the Babylon Bee really grinds this guy's gears.
Yeah, well, apparently Snopes.com can't make that can't distinguish either, because they've been known to debunk articles from the Babylon Bee and the Onion. Which the Babylon Bee responded to that by publishing a story that said they had been gotten some award from Snopes.com, which I thought was very funny.
That's awesome. But yeah, this guy's bothered by that, because there's some
excellent reporting,
really brilliant satire out there, and some creative websites that are designed to fool you into thinking that they're real, and sometimes they do. But you know what? That's part of the the fun of the web, is trying to figure out what you believe and what you don't.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, children at a certain age don't know when you do that "I stole your nose" thing. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. That means they should grow up and learn.
Right. Yeah, and this guy wants to protect people from having to grow up and learn. Going on here with Reason, they say if you're basing the erosion of constitutional rights on the reading comprehension skills of middle schoolers, you're doing it wrong. And by it, I mean journalism, constitutional analysis, politics, and just about everything else too. Stengel pivots from discussing truth in media to, quote, hate speech, unquote, a ridiculously expansive term he never defines with precision. He even writes, quote, there's no agreed upon definition of what hate speech actually is, unquote. It's one of those things where you'll know it when you hear it, I guess. Because mass shooters such as Dylan Roof, Omar Mateen, and the El Paso shooter were consumers of hate speech, he says, it's time to chuck out the hard-fought victories that allow individuals and groups to express themselves in words and pictures. Hate speech, laments Stengel, doesn't just cause violence, though strangely, violence is declining even as social media is flourishing. It also, and here's another quote from Stengel, hate speech, he says, diminishes tolerance. It enables discrimination. Isn't that by definition speech that undermines the values that the First Amendment was designed to protect? Fairness, due process, equality before the law?
Do you want to know what really undermines people who hate? It's others speaking up against them, right? Because when people are free and they're not going to be they're not going to feel they're not going to be oppressed to the same level as if nobody speaks up. It's not whether or not somebody that you disagree with, that's spouting hateful stuff, is allowed to speak. It doesn't matter whether it does. If they do speak, that's a good thing, because all it does is it allows them to get out their anger issues and
it shows who they are,
right? And it shows who they are.
Them.
And then who not to whose business not to attend or not to hang out with, or whatever it is, as opposed to if we end up with a society in which you can't say anything, it's like, well, you don't know when you're going to be victimized, because you don't know who the victimizer is going to be until they victimize you.
More on the way here about this anti-free speech guy. We'll tell you more about what he has to say. Your calls and thoughts are welcome. You can bring up what you want. Plus, coming up, roadside drug testing. It's happening in Michigan, and apparently they're going to expand it. That's on the way. Chris, you have that story. All that, hopefully, coming up in Hour 3. Of course, your calls and thoughts are welcome. Maybe you agree with this guy, and you think free speech has gone too far. We want to hear from you. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number. This is Free Talk Live.
Have you heard of LibertyCon? LibertyCon is not only a convention with great speakers like Whole Foods CEO and co-founder John Mackey and Nobel Prize winner Vernon Smith, but it's also unique because you get a chance to network with more than 70 pro-liberty organizations, one-on-one for the purpose of career advancement, business, and internship opportunities. April 3rd through 5th in Washington, D.C. You can learn more by visiting LibertyCon.com and use code FTL for a $10 discount on your registration. That's LibertyCon.com.
Do you want to join the ultra-wealthy by using a 160-year-old investing program that is no longer exclusive? Keep your funds fluid and 100% tax-free for you or your heirs with no contribution limits and without ever losing your principal with Fortune DNA. Learn how to avoid the volatility of the market and put certainty back into your investing future. Join us now at dna.freetalklive.com to watch the free pre-recorded webinar. Watch now at dna.freetalklive.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,512, silver at $18.12, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,222. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, in 2015, an armed shoplifting suspect barricaded himself inside an innocent man's home. But instead of barging into the home and attempting to make an arrest, the police blew up the unfortunate bystander's house instead. Using explosives and tear gas in an attempt to force the suspect out of the home, police entirely destroyed it by the end of the encounter. The basic infrastructure and frame was left barely intact. Now, after years of legal battles, a federal appeals court ruled that the homeowner is not entitled to any compensation from the city or the police because the officers were acting to preserve the safety of the public. The Mind Unleashed reports the owner of the house, Leo Leck, says that the incident that day left his family homeless simply because the police couldn't find a less destructive way of handling the situation. The house was ultimately condemned by the local government, leaving Leck forced to rebuild from the ground up, a construction project that he estimates cost roughly $400,000. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. CIA-backed death squads in Afghanistan have committed a number of human rights violations over the last year, a Human Rights Watch report found Thursday. And the militant groups are likely to be the lasting legacy of the U.S. war in the country. The report reviewed cases of abuse from late 2017 to the middle of 2019 in Afghanistan, interviewing 39 Afghans and a number of rights groups in the country. The group found a pattern of extreme violence from the CIA-trained and backed death squads. In a statement, HRW Associate Asia Director Patricia Grossman, who was the report's lead author, said the CIA, through backing the militant groups, had consigned entire communities to the terror of abusive night raids and indiscriminate airstrikes. Among the atrocities detailed in the report are a number of mass killings. In October 2018, paramilitary forces murdered 5 civilian members of one family, including an elderly woman and child. Just 2 months later, in December, a group to the south raided a village and killed 6 civilians. The first domino in the next global economic crisis has fallen when Hong Kong crashed Thursday morning into a technical recession, the first time since the 2008-2009 financial crisis. Hong Kong's economy plunged 3.2% in third quarter of 2019, government data showed on Thursday. exceeding economists' lowest estimates and confirming a technical recession has begun. Earlier this week, it was reported that Hong Kong Financial Secretary Paul Chan warned after more than half a year of violent anti-government demonstrations, the end of October will likely mark the start of a recession. With 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth and no end to the protests in sight, Bloomberg has noted in a series of graphs that a full-year economic contraction is likely for 2020. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snos.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNOS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snos.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
A job applicant totally nails an interview with the person who will make his life a living hell for the next 5 years. And adjusting several sliders on a recording studio's mixing console pays off big time. This is the Onion Week in Review. This week, a study published by researchers at Johns Hopkins University revealed a direct correlation between breastfeeding and knowing exactly what's best for other people at all times. Overwhelming evidence indicated that the moment mothers begin breastfeeding, they develop a highly honed sense of what is wrong with others' approach to life, and were able to loudly enumerate those faults with total confidence in their accuracy. Researchers noted that the practice greatly boosted a young mother's immunity to the viewpoints of others. And in this week's Tech Report, a startup is very casual about its dress code and benefits. In other news, the Secretary of Interior says knocking down the Rocky Mountains could really open up the nation, and a woman is not going to let her husband of 60 years drag her into death at the same time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom as we launch into the third hour of the program. Open phones here tonight. By the way, nobody, you're going to be heading up an after show this evening.
Yes. We'll be on at 10:30
Eastern Time.
Eastern Standard Time, and it will be myself.
Is it Standard Time or isn't Standard Time? Isn't Standard Time after this weekend, or is it daylight that's after this weekend? I always get them confused.
Does the time zone change?
Well, it's still Eastern Time, but they call it a different thing. They call it either daylight time or standard.
Okay, well, let's use Unix format, America / New York.
I just call it Eastern.
Yeah, I always just refer to it as Eastern because then it doesn't matter.
Because I never remember whether it's
right. Like it doesn't matter. It's whether it's daylight savings or not.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, tonight 10:30 Eastern. You can join Nobody, and I believe you're going to be joined by Vincent from Questioning Authority and Captain Kickass tonight on the after show. And for those that aren't familiar,
we have to come up with something for Captain Kickass to be from.
He has a website, but I don't recall what it is offhand. He's a producer of parody songs.
Yes.
And he has a site on which he stores those songs that people can go and listen to, but I don't recall what the name of it is. So you should ask him that tonight.
I'll do that
when you're on with him. But you guys are going to be doing an after show called Free Your Talk Live, which means that the phones are less restricted. So we're talking about freedom of speech here. There's these pesky FCC restrictions that we have to live by to do a radio show with that will not be in place coming up tonight at 10:30 Eastern on our DLive and Twitch channels. So you can go to dlive.lrn.fm or twitch.lrn.fm. Follow us on one or both of those platforms, and then you'll get a notice when you hit the Go Live button tonight. It'll shoot out a notice to everybody that's subscribing or everybody that's following on those platforms. So let them know in case they forgot or in case they didn't listen to us talking about this. They'll be able to tune in and enjoy. So that'll be fun. I don't know what you guys are going to talk about. Sometimes it's pretty freewheeling. So
it'll probably be pretty freewheeling.
Yeah. So don't miss that tonight. So open phones here, as we always have. You can comment on this character who was previously an editor of Time magazine. His name is Stengel, Richard Stengel. He's also a chairman at the National Constitution Center, and I guess he has decided he is now against the First Amendment. He said he used to be a fan of the First Amendment, but now he's worried about hate speech.
Has he actually said that he wants to repeal the First Amendment, or that he wants to modify it?
Yeah, I don't know what he
or
exactly
does he just want to ignore it when it's inconvenient for it?
Certainly the latter. It's easier to ignore it than it is to modify it.
You know
right?
what happens when you ban hate speech, right? The people
only outlaws have hate speech.
Well, yeah, that too. But no, the next time your enemy gets into power, they ban you.
Right.
Captain Kickass is in our Discord chat. He says, thank you. His parody stuff is at thekickassparodyproject.bandcamp.com. So that's his website.
And it's kick-ass.
Yeah, he does some good songs. Very creative guy. So back to the quote here from Stengel. He's talking about hate speech. He says it diminishes tolerance. It enables discrimination. Isn't that, by definition, speech that undermines the values that the First Amendment was designed to protect? Fairness, due process, equality before the law? Well, those aren't the things that the First Amendment was designed to protect, right? Like, the First Amendment's just, it's designed to protect freedom of speech, designed to protect freedom of religion, the right to assemble, and redress of grievances.
And is this guy actually an attorney?
I don't know if he's an attorney. He was an editor in Time.
Oh, that's right. He was an editor. Because the other thing is equality under the law.
That's later. That came later.
Has nothing to do
with the First Amendment.
Or with speech. I mean, how does somebody, using the N-word or saying something awful, how does that reduce your equality under the law?
He's just throwing
it's only
out
if the courts start treating you differently that you don't have equality under the law.
Right.
Yeah, this had to do with the oppression. The First Amendment, I believe, was the result of the oppression of the British. Is why we have the First Amendment. So it's
to be able to speak against the king. In case they weren't allowed to.
So so anybody who's saying it's to protect minorities, no, that's not what it nothing to do with it.
It is designed. I mean, the First Amendment. Remember, it's not just about freedom of speech. It's also freedom of religion. That's in there. It's the freedom to assemble. And the right to redress grievances. Those are I believe, the four things that are in the First Amendment.
But the reason it came about was those things, not to protect minorities, right?
Well, no, hold on. I mean, the freedom of religion is protecting minorities of religious people, right?
You don't have to protect the speech of the majority because the majority of people support the speech of the majority.
Right.
It's when somebody has a different idea so it's not for the protection of racial or ethnic minorities. It's for the protection of intellectual minorities. The right to dissent.
The reason though that it came about is not necessarily, it's broader than the reason it came about though, right? Like, so
and that's vital to its purpose. Milton Friedman, I think it was Milton Friedman who wrote that, there's probably a lot of individual issues that different people would like banned. Like, do you think it should be legal to talk about abortion on the street corner? You could probably get a bunch of people on board with outlawing that. Or, should it be okay to talk about homosexuality on the street corner? Well, there's a different set of people who would object to that.
That's right.
Right? So, and do you want to be able to show? So the thing is, by making it so broad and so singular and so absolute, the people who in theory, the people who want to suppress certain forms of speech are prevented from going that way because they would suppress their own speech.
Eventually it would happen.
Yeah, it's not like you can just repeal the protection of against religious speech.
As long as their speech stays popular, they're okay. But as soon as it becomes unpopular, then they're in trouble.
Absolutely.
So back to this anti-free speech guy, and more from his quote here. He goes on, he says, why shouldn't the states experiment with their own version of hate speech statutes to penalize speech that deliberately insults people based on religion, race, ethnicity, and sexual orientation, he says.
Now, that's an interesting question, and I have some questions about the 14th Amendment. And
what when was that? Was that
the 14th Amendment was passed just after the Civil War, and it was passed for good reason in that it was passed to protect the rights of black folks in the postbellum South. But what it ended up doing is it required the state governments to respect your federal constitutional rights. The reason that a lot of the Bill of Rights is duplicated in each of the state constitutions is that originally the federal constitution did not bind what state governments could do. And I'm not saying that because I support them doing that so much as if the South is really horribly anti-abortion, as it is. The South is anti-abortion stuff is very popular in the South. Well, if they can outlaw abortion in their own state, then they're not going to try and do it federally. Okay,
sure they will.
It's
if they can outlaw a thing in their own state and they can successfully do it, they're absolutely going to try to do it federally because they want to force their views on other people. That's the whole point of outlawing something.
Well, I think it's a lot less likely.
It's less likely, but that doesn't mean they won't try.
If it's illegal where you live, you may not be worried that it's legal someplace.
Sure, you will, because you're a busybody, and you want to.
I'm not a busybody.
Not you, but the people who would do, the people who we're talking about, the people who would do that.
I'm a busy nobody.
855-450 free. It's Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite is nutrition.
Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops, get the 3rd bottle free.
New improved Lico Chops with omega-3, omega-6, vitamin E.
And now, 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Local.bitcoin.com.
Anarchapulco is the world's foremost conference for voluntarists, thinkers, and activists, held in beautiful Acapulco, Mexico. Share ideas on how to live free and escape the clutches of the state. Their unparalleled lineup of speakers will discuss entrepreneurship, investments, politics, philosophy, health, sustainability, lifestyles, and personal relationships. Stay in a world-class resort and enjoy the sun and beaches. February the 13th through the 16th. Visit anarchapulco.com for early bird pricing and 10% off with coupon code FTL.
I want to tell you about my favorite cryptocurrency wallet, Edge Wallet, at edge.app. Edge is the wallet I use more than any other, and that was true long before Edge Wallet became a sponsor of Free Talk Live. Edge Wallet allows you to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold your cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and more. It's available for both Android and iOS, and you can download it via the Play or App Store or via Edge Wallet's website, edge.app. Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free here. While you still can, you still have some semblance of freedom of speech, but not of these people like this Stengel guy from Time Magazine and now the Constitution Center. His name is Richard Stengel. He has turned against freedom of speech. He's worried about people's feelings and stuff. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE if you want to join us here. That's 855-450-3733. And if you'd like to learn how the ultra-wealthy take their retirement accounts and make them legally 100% tax-free and have your money liquid and invest in literally anything you want to, completely tax-free with the blessing of the IRS, and no, it's not a Roth, you can visit dna.freetalklive.com to learn more and watch Fortune DNA's free pre-recorded webinar. With Fortune DNA, you can invest, they say, you can invest in anything that you want, 100% tax-free for you and your heirs, and use your money before you're 59 and a half without ever losing your principal. Avoid the volatility of the market, put certainty back into your investing future, and keep full access to your money with Fortune DNA. You can join the ultra-wealthy by using a 160-year-old investing program that is no longer exclusive. Visit dna.freetalklive.com to learn more and watch the free pre-recorded webinar over at dna.freetalklive.com. That's Fortune DNA. As we go we can go to your calls if you want to join us here, talk about freedom of speech. We're reading some quotes as cited by Reason Magazine's Nick Gillespie, the former Time Magazine editor, Richard Stengel, who is just railing against freedom of speech. He is saying that, quote, all speech is not equal, and where truth cannot drive out lies, we must add new guardrails. I'm all for protecting thought that we hate, but not speech that incites hate. It undermines the very values of a fair marketplace of ideas that the First Amendment is designed to protect.
Wow.
How's that for some crazy political doublespeak?
Yeah.
He wants to outlaw speech that incites hate because it undermines the First Amendment.
And the denial of the power of truth is very disturbing to me. Because, the reality is, and yeah, it's not instantaneously, but I think that on a long enough timeline, if you leave it alone, if you want to call it Jungian collective consciousness of the human race, seems to be moving in the direction of getting better.
I agree.
And obviously that hasn't gotten out to the cheap seats yet.
Yeah.
But on Martin Luther King said, on a long enough timeline, the universe bends toward justice.
I think it's
true. But to me, the tolerance of ideas that we find distasteful, or at least the tolerance of people who hold them, is essential. Because, what do you do? What happens if you're getting bullied in school? okay, and you go run to the teacher. Well, she punishes the bully, and then the bully's madder at you. Okay, so it needs to be something where if somebody gives you hate speech, and I had people doing it today because I happen to be a bisexual. Oh well, if you don't like it, screw you. Right. And it's like. My response was I didn't like her very much, and I told her I didn't like her, which is I suppose at least dislike speech, if not hate speech. I wouldn't say that I hated her because I was paralyzed by not caring very much.
You're talking about the person who was criticizing you?
Yeah, yeah, and so if somebody gives you nasty speech, respond to it in kind. Right, if somebody punches you in the face, respond to that in kind.
I agree with you, and I disagree with this Stengel, but I'm going to try to take his perspective here and say respond to you.
Devil's advocate mode.
What he's saying here is, yeah, sure, it's one thing if you're in the same room as somebody else, you can respond to the hate speech, you can bring the truth out, you can counter that. But on the internet, he says, there are these places where it's all hate speech. Imagine, for instance, Christopher Cantwell, who is a right-wing, white nationalist Nazi guy. He used to be a co-host on Free Talk Live before he became a Nazi. We kicked him off when he became a racist. But imagine when he goes and he creates his own show, which he's done. He creates his own website, which he's done. He could create his own Mastodon server. And he could have all hate speech in one place where no one is allowed to come in and give the other side. That's what this guy is citing here. He's saying we have these places, these pockets on the internet that are all hate, and there's no truth to be found there.
Yeah, but the problem with that is he's looking at people as users of that website. But the reality is those people have lives outside that website. And so if that's the case, then you start up your own website and you say why they're wrong. You respond in kind and people shift over. I'll tell you, nobody has ever changed their mind because they got beat up by Antifa. You know who changes minds? The black guy who actually goes to KKK rallies, and he's collected like 200 robes that people have given him when they have left that organization, and he's he's black and he goes to KKK rallies, and I have like the utmost respect for this.
That's amazing work. Yeah,
both in having the balls and having the emotional strength to deal with being in a situation where you're hated and just dealing with it.
Yeah. Echo chambers are dangerous for all sides, whether you're a socialist, a libertarian, or a liberal. It doesn't really matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. It's a dangerous position to be in. If you
to not be challenged,
to never be challenged. I'm not, I'm all for like the New Hampshire migration of libertarians and stuff, but I don't necessarily want to only hear from libertarians and from a communication standpoint, because that will just put me into this little box and I'll think everybody agrees with me, and then all of a sudden I'll realize when they come for me, well, maybe I should have paid attention to what others were saying.
I want to bring Gator on the line. He's in Florida listening to WTTB on the East Coast. Go ahead, Gator.
Hi.
Hey, you're on the air.
Pardon me?
Yes, sir, you are on the radio. Go ahead.
I wanted to talk to you I wanted to ask about Bitcoin.
Okay, sure.
I don't see it being utilized much, but tell me what your perspective is of its functionality and its purpose.
Well, that's a good question. I will say this before we get into functionality and purpose. It is absolutely being utilized. I mean, there are thousands of websites on the planet that accept Bitcoin as payment for products and services. Here in New Hampshire, where we're doing this show from, I just bought my dinner with Bitcoin, with Dash tonight, which is a competitor to Bitcoin. You've got what, a Monster energy drink?
I got a Monster and some other food that I bought before the show.
You went to the corner.
Would you pay Dash or Bitcoin Cash?
I actually did use Dash today, surprisingly. I haven't for like I don't know, like 6 months, but I did today.
Yeah,
somebody paid me in Dash. So.
I don't have much Dash, just a little dash of it.
Yeah, I use it about every single day. So, Gator, hang on the line. We're going to bring you back, okay? And we'll talk more about I think it was he wanted the purpose and something else. I forget. I didn't write it down. So, we'll hopefully he'll stick with us here.
Yeah, the purpose of it.
The purpose, what is Bitcoin all about? You can share your thoughts as well. And it is still new, by the way. I mean, we're only in the first decade. It's now we're coming up on 11 years. In January, it'll be year 11. The 11th birthday for Bitcoin. 855-450 free. You can join us on the radio. This is Free Talk Live.
Do you have a crypto wealth advisor or coach? If so, has your cryptocurrency advisor been investing in technology stocks for over 20 years? Have they left the corporate world and retired? Or are they still trying to make a weekly paycheck? Have they produced six-figure results for their customers in the past 30 days? And very importantly, are they a member of the Digital Currency Council? Seth Maniscalco is the founder of Crypto Wealth Coach and CryptoWealthCoach.com. Seth invested in his first Roth IRA at 19 years old while living abroad and has been investing in Wall Street and technology for over 20 years with experience in all the money markets. By comparison, so many of these so-called crypto gurus have barely been alive for 20 years. Seth has not only experienced personal success from his own investments in crypto, he has also helped his clients earn 6- and 7-figure incomes, including helping investors make over $750,000 in EOS in 90 days and 1,225% in only 5.5 months with Chainlink. Seth has help for the small do-it-yourself guy on up to crypto whales. Increase your wealth. Visit CryptoWealthCoach.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and we invite you to join us here. Whether you want to talk about freedom of speech or Bitcoin, you can call in and bring up whatever is on your mind. With you tonight, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And Chris.
Don't forget, Anarchapulco is coming up, and it's coming fast. You know, it's going to be here before you know it. It's happening in February, so we're like, 3 months away from that at this point? So mark your calendar for February 13th through the 16th. In beautiful Acapulco, Mexico, for what I believe is going to be the 6th year of Anarchapulco. It's an excellent event, and it's going to have many fantastic speakers. Ron Paul's coming back for the 3rd year in a row at Anarchapulco. But also, John McAfee will be there, I believe, for the first time. Sherry Peel Jackson, Doug Casey, Freeway Rick Ross, Del Bigtree, Jeff Berwick, Larkin Rose, James Corbett, Jeffrey Tucker, Benny Wills, and many more. You can go to anarchapulco.com. I mean, I cut my list in half. I didn't read all the names they've got in front of me. There's a bunch of speakers discussing everything from entrepreneurship to investments, politics, philosophy, health, sustainability, lifestyles, and personal relationships. It's a great conference, and it's a beautiful location. You can join us there February 13th through the 16th, anarchapulco.com. And you can get 10% off with promo code FTL at anarchapulco.com. Again, promo code FTL, like Free Talk Live. Let's go back to Gator. He's on the line in Florida. Sounds like he's pretty new to the idea of Bitcoin. You had asked us to talk about the purpose, and there was one other word that you wanted to hear about with Bitcoin. What was it, Gator? Functionality. Nobody, do you want to take this one?
In the intervening period, you had this advertisement on where you talked about some guy making 100% or 1,000% in 90 days. Those kind of things are sort of scary to me.
Whoa, I don't think we have a commercial saying that. I'm not sure what you heard.
The Bitcoin guru.
Well, there have been some big increases in the value of Bitcoin, but that has nothing to do with the point of it. As a matter of fact, it's somewhat destructive to it.
Yeah, that's what we've talked about.
The volatility of Bitcoin is the Achilles heel of Bitcoin. But that said, you can make money by using it, or by holding it. But you can also lose money by holding it. But the purpose of Bitcoin is it's basically an accounting system. Okay, it's a ledger. Okay, and it as such it tracks transactions, and it allows you, by making an entry into the ledger, you can transfer a certain amount of basically computer time because to another person. And the reason I say computer time is because the one thing that consumes Bitcoin is the transaction fees of Bitcoin. So basically, buying Bitcoin is like buying coupons to cover your Western Union fees.
I don't think that was the best explanation. I think you missed one important aspect. You called it a ledger, but we've already got ledgers. What makes this ledger different is it's public and it's decentralized and it's distributed.
Oh, you're exactly right. That is that I should have.
So
I should have gone into that. So that
therefore,
makes it
you can't
global
cook the
and
books.
trustworthy.
Right. You can't cook the books with Bitcoin. There's no fraud that can be engaged in as far as the transactions on Bitcoin are concerned.
Well,
how do you lose money
it's
with
very
How could you
difficult.
possibly gain money or lose money?
Yeah. Okay. The money we're talking about in this case is the value of a Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin price has gone up and it has gone down, and it has trended upward though over time generally. So if you took money, let's say rather than money, say dollars. Say if you took dollars and you bought some Bitcoin with dollars every week. You bought $10 worth of Bitcoin for the last 3 years. I saw a chart recently that showed this is what's called dollar cost averaging. You would be up, I think it was like 300%, because over time you're buying little bits of Bitcoin, you're sort of amassing more and more of it slowly, and you're not concerning yourself with whatever the price is at the moment that you're buying it. That particular investment strategy into Bitcoin has worked out very well. And then what happens with the price is it's constantly changing, moment to moment. There are exchanges all around the globe. There are thousands of exchanges where people are trading rubles for Bitcoin and yen for Bitcoin and US dollars for Bitcoin and whatever fiat government monies we're talking about. So the price is constantly in flux, and so the price just changes based on the marketplace.
Yeah, it sounds very scary the way you guys are explaining it, and it's also probably overcomplicating it. So basically, everything changes in value, right? The U.S. dollar goes. I mean, generally, the U.S. dollar value goes down, right?
That's right.
But if you look at currencies,
it's been monotonically
not
down.
Significantly, not
Right.
like 10 or 20%
Right.
a year.
So
you're talking about.
It does. Yeah, you're right. And so if you look at it compared to the U.S. that's mostly true for the U.S. dollar, but it really depends. Like if you take a look at the Canadian dollar as an example, as another fiat currency, it dropped about 40% over 4 years. So like this idea that currencies can't drop or don't drop, and that's like a fairly stable currency. Now you can also take a look at like other currencies like Venezuela, which went into hyperinflation, is basically worthless, right? So it's kind of,
and that can happen here.
Right.
It can
happen with crypto.
It will happen to the dollar sooner or later.
Yeah,
the dollar will go to
no,
zero.
that can happen to crypto, but not in the same way, because what you're talking about is political manipulation of the money supply versus a programmatic manipulation.
It happens.
Meaning
It can
that
happen for
Bitcoin.
Let's say you
different
have
reasons.
a quantity of Bitcoin, and you accurately predicted that it was going to fail or fall, and you wanted to liquidate quickly. Where would you go to convert it to cash or German marks or whatever?
There are
you
a
want
variety of ways that you can do that.
Any exchange would let you do it, right?
One, you can go to what's called an exchange. These are online websites where you can, like connect a bank account. You can sell your Bitcoin there for U.S. dollars and then withdraw them.
a fee for doing that?
Of course, yeah. There's always going to be a fee anytime you're exchanging one currency for another.
It's just like a money broker at like when you go into Canada, for example,
at an airport or something.
Yeah, like an airport or something like that. There's going to be a fee to convert. Now it's actually
it depends
fairly
on what
low.
you want to convert to. Also,
It's
it may well be that that you decide that the dollar and Bitcoin are both toast, and so what do you do then? Well, you would spend your Bitcoin buying bullion from somebody like Roberts in Florida, who will trade you gold for Bitcoin. It's just like anything else. If you think it's going to go down, you trade out of it into something hopefully that you think is going to go
you
up.
were talking about when you were saying it was like trading computer time. There's transaction costs. What are the transaction costs?
Very small with cryptocurrency.
Well, it depends on what the
cryptocurrency in general. It's a fraction of a penny. Usually, Bitcoin can get up to like 50 cents. I've seen.
Is Bitcoin that low now?
Yeah, Bitcoin's been around 20 or 30 cents.
Oh wow,
for
it's dropped down a lot.
But even that, even though it's more than all the other cryptocurrencies, it's still a fraction of what it's going to cost you to send a wire transfer. It's still a fraction of a cost of what it's going to spend at a Western Union.
I've seen people pay $120 for wire transfers.
Cash, Bitcoin specifically is subject to a problem where the fees vary depending on how busy the network is, and so Bitcoin has a low capacity, and so the Bitcoin fees specifically have in the past gotten outrageously high, and there's no reason that couldn't happen in the future. Coins like Bitcoin Cash and others don't have that problem.
There was a time when
much.
Bitcoin was more expensive than a wire transfer. It was a brief time
Well,
in 2017.
yeah, it depends on where it was going to, whether it's domestic or international.
Okay, I'm talking about domestic.
Yeah, domestically probably higher, but international to some destinations definitely lower.
And it's certainly faster than a wire transfer. Any way you
it's
slice
instant compared to probably waiting days for.
Although
a wire
there was
transfer.
a time when Bitcoin was so slow that it literally took weeks for a
Well,
transfer.
So my suggestion,
if you didn't pay the $120 fee, then yeah.
So if you're going to check out a crypto, I would suggest you check out Bitcoin Cash. But
there's a ton of these things, and there's the basics.
There's a few that really matter, though.
There's basics
you
that.
talk about other things. I listened to you last.
Hold that thought, Gator. We'll bring it back here. We love talking about cryptocurrency. It's Free Talk Live.
This is Fred.
Hi, I'm Fred.
Fred's a repeater.
I tend to repeat.
Fred has a business.
I do have a business.
And a problem. Fred repeats the same tired advertising over and over, and now it doesn't work.
Over and over.
But Fred is about to see a vision.
I'm seeing a vision.
Advertising on the Genesis Communications Network is the smart way for Fred to reach his potential customers with the most affordable national advertising rates, period. Get started today with GCN, the Genesis Communications Network. Just email advertise@gcnlive.com.
If you owe money to the IRS, you need to hear this. The IRS is cracking down on those who owe back taxes. It starts with a devastating letter, and if you don't act immediately, you could find yourself having your wages garnished or have a lien placed on your property. But there's a solution. Tax 10,000 can help. Avoid enforced compliance, where these holds on your income and seizure of your home could become a nightmare that just won't end. Call 800-239-9957 now and speak to one of our experts. 800-239-9957 is the number to link you directly to a tax resolution specialist who will negotiate with the IRS on your behalf. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, all the forms will be handled for you. All you have to do is make the toll-free call. 800-239-9957. Find out if you qualify and possibly save yourself thousands of dollars, not to mention a lot of headaches. It could be the best call you've made today. That number again, 800-239-9957. The service does not provide tax settlement or legal services. We will refer you to a company that does provide such services. Often the IRS will not agree to any reduction in the amount owed. Not all taxpayers who owe more than $10,000 will qualify for a tax reduction program.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You bring up what you want. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And Chris.
And Chris, by the way, from Think Penguin. You can go over and get some cool Linux privacy-oriented hardware from the folks at Think Penguin. Anything new going on there?
We got new not dial-up modems.
That's not going to be a hot
USB
seller.
cellular modems are going to be in their catalog soon, which is kind of cool.
Very cool.
So they're plug and play.
Could you use that
don't
with
have to mess around
different
with
cellular
drivers or anything?
Like, could you use that with different cellular services or something?
Yeah. So like we're going to have support for all the major providers in the United States with one modem, which is kind of cool.
Meaning you don't have to buy it from the company; you can buy it from you guys.
Yeah, you can buy it from us and then activate with any of the different major providers. So it's
nice. It's unlocked.
Yeah, absolutely. So and it's great because you can get different SIM cards from Verizon now, and Verizon's actually real hard to get a USB modem for, cellular modem for now. It's impossible as far as I can tell, because there aren't any. They banned all voice. Or any device that does not have 4G voice. Like there's this modern 4G voice thing, as opposed to the old 4G, which used 3G for voice, and then 4G I guess was only data. And so they banned the devices that have the old 4G, but that don't also have support for the new 4G voice stuff. And so basically that means all your cellular devices, which is really stupid because the cellular devices don't use voice anyway. As a result, there aren't any USB cellular modems on the market that work with Verizon service anymore,
but
except for
will.
ours will. But
is this coming soon?
Yeah.
How soon?
Now,
hopefully within the next week or so.
Now, my experience with USB modems is that they're kind of a pain in that even with Windows, like there are no drivers for old ones.
Yeah, well, this is the problem, and this is the problem that we actually solve. Now, I can't solve it for Windows, right? But I can solve it for Linux. And basically, what's going on is these modems have certain modes. And the manufacturers, they're shipping with them in modes that don't work, and then the driver basically, when you install the driver, it will change the mode to one that does work in Windows. But what that means is that when you go to a new version of Windows, the modem no longer works, and because they don't have a new driver for the new version of Windows, right? It's typical for Windows. You lose support for the modem. So. With Linux, with our modem, okay, we're setting it to what's called MBIM mode, which is basically a standard, and that's the mode that it starts up with by default.
What do these things
there's
cost?
no drivers to install or stuff to mess around with.
So you just stick it in once and it works.
Yeah, and it will continue to work indefinitely with any future releases of Linux or
until Verizon
any
shuts
other
down their
software
cell tower or whatever, right?
But then you can switch to a different carrier because these things are jailbroken.
Yes, right. So instead
what
of
does one of these things cost?
I don't know exactly what the price is going to be.
Not you, but
under
100.
I'm imagining no, not going to be that expensive. It's probably going to be somewhere between 80 and 100.
Okay,
I'm hoping to hit $80 price point, but it kind of depends.
You're probably going to pay as much to get one from Verizon or whatever
prices.
So.
I don't know what that is yet. For sure. You can get. It's probably so this modem is potentially better in some respects than some of the stuff you can get for Verizon, but I would say as far as value for your money, this is just amazing.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
All right, thinkpenguin.com. Check him out there. We did, by the way, Gator dropped off the line. I thought that he might have had more questions about cryptocurrency, but hey, look, Gator, we're here every night. We do the show every single night here on Free Talk Live. Did you have more that you wanted to add, though, nobody, about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin? Like, did you feel like there was a thought that you wanted to share in the last segment that you didn't have a chance to get out about?
Let's see.
Crypto?
Not really. I'd like to go back and say what I said before, but say it well.
Okay.
But I don't know if...
Well, I'll say something else about the purpose, because he had called to ask about the purpose of Bitcoin. From my perspective, and you can read Satoshi Nakamoto's own words, Satoshi Nakamoto is the individual or group of people or whoever it is, he, she, we don't know. But Satoshi seemed to be very anti-big bank, anti-big government. He seemed to be somebody, or she seemed to be somebody, who wanted to decentralize the power of money, get it out of the hands of the central authority control types, the treasuries, the mints, the central banks, the government gangs, get it out of their hands. The power of money. It's a very, very important thing, a very important power, and put it into the hands of the individuals. And that's what Satoshi successfully did by creating Bitcoin. The fees and the who's and the where's and the all the details
side
about
benefits.
Those are all on the side. And cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is an amazing phenomenon that at this point is still new. And if you think about the perspective, look at time, right? You've got gold and silver, precious metals. They've been money for a long time, for thousands of years. You've got paper money, a few hundred years, right? The paper money hasn't been around for too long. Credit cards, 50, 70 years, something like that. I mean, if credit cards haven't been around for
Yeah.
long at all, it took a while for those.
It took 40 years for them to see
to catch on.
widespread, and I put that in
Yeah.
quotes,
Yeah.
adoption. So
Yeah, and
there's a
still-
lot of places. A lot of people in Europe don't have credit cards. Still.
And still today, a lot of businesses won't take them because they don't want to pay the ridiculous
It's true.
fees.
Even in the United States, there's a lot of
Correct.
places that won't take it, or they'll restrict. You can't use it for transactions
than
under
$10.
$10. Yeah,
Right.
$20 maybe even.
And basically, that's what it comes down to for me with fees. Is we shouldn't be comparing the cost of sending Bitcoin to the cost of sending a wire transfer, because you're not going to send a wire transfer for a cup of coffee. You should compare it to the cost of using a credit card.
And those are significant. Yeah.
I would call anything over 3% unacceptable.
Yeah, if you're buying like a laptop or something like that, you're paying hundreds of dollars worth of fees. Depending on the price of the laptop, obviously.
Well, when you say you mean the business owner
indirectly, yeah.
But you're
the prices go
paying
up.
the customer, yeah.
because they
They're
calculate
hidden.
that in.
It's like a hidden tax that people don't know that they're paying every
That
time they use
all
a credit
goes
card.
to the banks.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's expensive.
So when you buy with cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, 100% or close to it of the amount goes to the person who you're sending the crypto
Well,
to.
100% of it does go to the person you're sending it to. It's the user's
Well,
paying the
unless
fee, but
they're
it's
using
a very, very small, like less than 1% in most cases.
Some
or less than
systems-
1 cent in most cases for like
But-
Bitcoin Cash.
Okay, but
or Dash.
hold on. That's if you pay them directly. If they're using a system like a BitPay, then BitPay may be taking up to 1% of that fee.
Oh,
Or
but
not fee,
that's not crypto. Don't do that.
But what you're paying for there is like
well,
a
he uses BitPay.
Yeah, I use BitPay. So that's true, but that's like saying when you
What
pay.
are they charging? 1% these days?
I think so. But that's I don't even know that I don't know if that's for only if you cash out.
It's still cheaper than credit cards.
Yeah,
by
yeah.
a significant factor.
Right.
But yeah, if you send directly to somebody with cryptocurrency, then the sender pays the fee, and it's a very, very small fee in almost all cases.
And the thing I also want to point out is that that's like saying the company that you pay for your point of sale machine is you're paying somebody for that, right? So it's the same thing, right? Like dollars, U.S. dollars have no fee attached, but if you take into account the point of sale machine that you're paying for in order to accept those dollars, there is a cost there. So it's the same thing, with taking crypto. If you use
a service
depending on which point of sale software you're using, it depends on what it's going to cost.
Except for
It
AnyPay,
can
which
be
does not
zero.
charge.
Right, it can
Yeah.
be zero with AnyPay is a perfect example of zero. But on the
There
other
aren't
hand,
many like that, though.
BitPay they charge 1%, but I'm not even sure if that's that might only be if you cash out. In other words, you convert from Bitcoin to US dollars or Bitcoin Cash.
I
to
forget.
US
It's
dollars.
What does Bitcoin or BitPay give you for that 1%? Why do you use it? What's the advantage?
Well, I mean, 1% is actually a really good
it's
price
cheaper
probably
than
for converting crypto or currencies.
They provide conversion
Right,
services.
conversion. So if I withdraw to my
acceptance, there's a system, right? You can put it onto your website, and they got the 15-minute clock that counts down while you wait for the payment. It generates the code. It's got like a database where it shows your transactions. You can export it to a CSV. So it's got some business friendly.
Does it do something that BTC Pay doesn't do?
So here's the answer to that question. So BitPay was one of the first companies that had a system to basically integrate into websites to accept payment in cryptocurrencies. Now, you could accept cryptocurrencies without them previously, but not if you wanted it integrated, where people could easily check out, for example, and you had a lot of different products. That's the benefit. That was the benefit back in those days. Now, BTC Pay came along later. It's probably still more difficult to set that up. It took literally 5 minutes for somebody I'm technical, but somebody who's not technical would probably be able to set this up too, with it, because it's just a plugin basically and entering a few credentials. So it makes it what you're paying for is, I think what you're paying for is the service more or less, which is the conversion between cryptocurrency and dollars. If you use that part
and
of the service,
you can set it up to auto convert a percentage as well. I like what they do there at BitPay. They've been around for a long time. AnyPay, of course, does a great job, and they do it for less as far as just accepting crypto. But AnyPay doesn't offer the conversion to
They
fiat.
have, and
they don't do the
they've also
conversion
done
to fiat, but they do have a website plugin now. That's new.
That's new.
I was going to say,
true.
and they were not doing websites previously.
That's right.
So
They launched as a business.
So that's big. I want to integrate that into my church website too.
Hey, we're out of time for tonight. If you called in at the very end of the show, which seems to happen every night, call earlier tomorrow night. and we'll get you on the air. So if you didn't get on tonight,
or call at 10:30 tonight for Freer Talk Live.
Yes, and that's happening on our Twitch and DLive over at twitch.lrn.fm and dlive.lrn.fm in a half hour.
Balance of nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I've always been high energy, just going, and I turned 40 last November, and I was tired all the time. Now, taking the balance of nature, I just feel good. I have energy when I get home to still wrestle with my kids and do the honeydews at home. Nice. I can tell that it just restored me to feeling normal, which is great.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Call or go online now and become a preferred customer, which gives you our best pricing and free shipping. And we'll take off an additional $25 on your first order. This will be a limited time offer, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code FTL.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999, and ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Questioning Authority is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,512, silver at $18.12, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,222. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, in 2015, an armed shoplifting suspect barricaded himself inside an innocent man's home. But instead of barging into the home and attempting to make an arrest, the police blew up the unfortunate bystander's house instead. Using explosives and tear gas in an attempt to force the suspect out of the home, police entirely destroyed it by the end of the encounter. The basic infrastructure and frame was left barely intact. Now, after years of legal battles, a federal appeals court ruled that the homeowner is not entitled to any compensation from the city or the police because the officers were acting to preserve the safety of the public. The Mind Unleashed reports the owner of the house, Leo Leck, says that the incident that day left his family homeless simply because the police couldn't find a less destructive way of handling the situation. The house was ultimately condemned by the local government, leaving Leck forced to rebuild from the ground up, a construction project that he estimates cost roughly $400,000. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. CIA-backed death squads in Afghanistan have committed a number of human rights violations over the last year, a Human Rights Watch report found Thursday. And the militant groups are likely to be the lasting legacy of the U.S. war in the country. The report reviewed cases of abuse from late 2017 to the middle of 2019 in Afghanistan, interviewing 39 Afghans and a number of rights groups in the country. The group found a pattern of extreme violence from the CIA-trained and backed death squads. In a statement, HRW Associate Asia Director Patricia Grossman, who was the report's lead author, said the CIA, through backing the militant groups, had consigned entire communities to the terror of abusive night raids and indiscriminate airstrikes. Among the atrocities detailed in the report are a number of mass killings. In October 2018, paramilitary forces murdered 5 civilian members of one family, including an elderly woman and child. Just 2 months later, in December, a group to the south raided a village and killed 6 civilians. The first domino in the next global economic crisis has fallen when Hong Kong crashed Thursday morning into a technical recession, the first time since the 2008-2009 financial crisis. Hong Kong's economy plunged 3.2% in third quarter of 2019, government data showed on Thursday, exceeding economists' lowest estimates and confirming a technical recession has begun. Earlier this week, it was reported that Hong Kong Financial Secretary Paul Chan warned after more than half a year of violent